Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We are back with week 6. It's Saturday. We've got 4 games ahead. I am Hindu Man, and alongside me today is Kevin Adonis.
Well, you're pretty intense this morning.
I'm in the zone.
It's the evening now.
4 days.
You're ready to go? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. First up, though, it's gonna be it's. Please stop scaring the children. You talked about how we have children of all ages, and you're scaring them.
We've got 4 games today. The match of the day is definitely going to be TSM versus Eager. However, match of the week is going to be tomorrow. That's going to be Epsilon up against the boys that are Fnatic. As you can see on your screen there, go over to esports.smitegame.com and have a little look there, and you'll be able to vote for which way you think this is going to go, or even split, and you could win yourself some gems.
Yeah, you're going to be able to go on to esports.smitegame.com. It's going to be one of the first, if not the first, blog post on the website, and you're able to fill out a document and guess who you think is going to win, and if you are correct, you're entered for a chance to win, I believe, 200 gems.
200
so
gems
just for getting the predictions right. And since it's free FP week, of course, everyone already knows who won, right?
Always,
right,
always free FP week, Kevin. Always free FP week.
First up, though, it's going to be Paradigm taking on London Conspiracy. Let's take a look at the standings and see where the teams sit so far. Now, we talked about the undefeated teams or the match of the week, and it is the 2 top teams in Europe.
2 top teams in Europe, and that's what we'll be facing tomorrow. But right now, we're going to be having a look at London Conspiracy, who didn't have the greatest run last time they went out, up against Paradigm, who themselves lost their last game too, and they're both sat right now in that top 5 situation. If you can see where they're sat right now, depending how this one plays out, one of them could overtake the other and push themselves into a clear position.
I mean, even London Conspiracy could find 2 wins here and actually shoot themselves up to second for at least a little bit, and as the other top teams still have some games to go on. But let's take a look at London Conspiracy. And in the jungle today will be Cherryo. Once again, it's not going to be Soggy Sandal. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make this game. But Cherryo, he had a nice game his last showing.
He did have a good performance. They didn't win the games, though, was the big key. But he had a good performance for him. He seemed to fit to their roster and their style for the most part, alongside what Soggy Sandal was doing. Didn't run Fenrir, which was different, because Soggy Sandal kind of ran that for the most part.
Like 50% of his games were Fenrir.
Pretty much. But now we're going to see him in the jungle there. And then the other side of things, well, we have the boys of Paradigm. And Paradigm, well, so far their season's been up and down. But for the most part, it's been up. However, last game they did face Fnatic, and they did lose that 2-0.
Yeah, they fell to the rising Fnatic, who struggled the first half of the split, but then really started to make their way, and Paradigm was one of the teams that suffered. Now, unfortunately, Cuvo Fred will not be here for these games. He's actually finishing up school, so he's unavailable for this week.
Important time in Europe for a lot of school kids.
It's not just them filling in for Cuvo Fred. This is actually going to be a lot of lane swaps here for them to accommodate. They're bringing in their coach and substitute, ImDazer, and he's going to be playing support. Trixtank is actually moving to Hunter, and Funballer is moving to jungle. And this is all temporary because Cuvo Fred has to finish his schooling, but there's going to be some interesting dynamics here in this game, at least.
Remember, kids, stay in school. But the big thing to note there is what you can see between these two between Paradigm here is that they feel the composition of Trixtank and ImDazer there should work out okay in that duo lane, is what they're thinking. Trixtank should be able to give ideas to ImDazer what he should be looking to do in terms of the support rotations. And Funball in the jungle, well, to be fair, I'm going to be interested to see how Funball works. I'm not so worried about Trixtank. I'm interested in what Funball is going to do in the jungle and whether we can make it work.
Funball has been playing multiple roles since I played on Reason Gaming with him. He actually played for a North American team a long time ago, and he played solo then, and he's played Hunter before. He has played every single role, and he has been successful, similar to a Snoopy. He's a very similar player to Snoopy, and you could see Snoopy transition to the mid very well and quickly for Team Solo mid. I think Funballer for these games will be fine, but it's a lot of changes
Let's
here.
go into picks and bans and see if Funballer can make this happen in the jungle for them. LC 8-8 right now. Paradigm 9-5. These games will push. To be honest, if either one wins it, they're definitely a step ahead of the other team.
First pick going to London Conspiracy. Now the question is, who are they going to target out here? And it's going to be Wukong first of all. Xaliea not going to be able to play that. I mean, Xaliea is one of the best.
Hold that thought. You're talking about Xaliea.
Oh, Trix as well. Trix as well.
Last 4 games he's played that in the support role. So let's just
that. Okay, I'm sorry.
It back
that was.
Bit,
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Come on. So they kept banned away though, and you could see that against Myrmidons we did see LC run that one. Up against Myrmidons. Actually, I said LC lost their last game. I'm lying there. I apologize. They beat Myrmidons 2-0. So
Yeah, I
Worked
believe
out
it
well
was Titan who lost their
It was
last
Titan.
game.
I'm thinking of
It's-
Titan.
I know.
'Cause it's also
I
because they
know.
faced Dignitas just before that was the biggest reason. But remember, Soggy Sandal is not been replaced. He's just a substitute. Sorry, Cherryo's just a substitute for the time being.
Yes.
It's not a full replacement, so don't go panicking just yet that Soggy Sandal's off the team.
Final ban coming through, and it is going to be Kepri taking out. So Paradigm banning some. Actually, all these bans are pretty meta, not very targeted. Wukong, while it is targeted against Trixtank, I mean that's still just a god you can't let through. First pick going to be going to Aero. That's going to be Janus.
Janus, not a surprise. He's played a majority of the games this season so far. 1, 2, 3. There's loads of games. Like 8, 9 games so far this season.
It's his most played god.
However, Hell is available right now for either team to draft, and we've seen a lot of people in EU looking for that Hell. But for the time being, Paradigm's going to default hit to Thor and Neith, so some global ultimates.
It's not only just global ultimates, but these are gods that are like kind of keystones to their role. So if Trick's playing ADC, he may not want to play 1v1 hunters like AMC or Huyi or Fred or these gods that it takes a lot of skill and practice. He's going to play Neith. He can sit there, clear his wave, and be impactful from across the map by just channeling and sending off World Weaver.
Well, the funny thing about Neith is she's a supportive AD carry as well, and Trick's being a support. He can help team fights, roots,
All right,
CC.
let's be honest. Trix is
out.
not a support player.
He
is a carry player who plays Guardians
He is.
in the duo lane.
He is. What he said, right, he did an interview recently with Dignitas,
Yes.
and he said in that interview his name comes from, he thinks he's a trickster, so he wanted something with tricks in it. And then at the same time, he likes playing support, so he wanted something that says tank. Thenceforth, he is a support player.
He's a
That's where
support player
Trixtank
that
came
does a
from as
lot of damage. It's Apollo, Athena locked in. So, I mean, globals. Every single pick so far has at least a semi-global in the game. Janus going to be able to teleport across, not only himself, but his team across the map. Apollo across the skies. Athena as well. Going to be able to be in any lane that he wants. Isis locked in for Paradigm, the end of the first half of the picking phase.
Flex pick, however, is the Isis. Xaliea is running multiple times so far this season. Not necessarily to the greatest of effect all the time. So far, we've seen, I believe it's 5 times this season. And for the majority of those games, I think he's almost 50-50 in terms of win-loss.
But like you said, it is a flex, right? This isn't investing into mid or solo yet. I think depending on the solo laner we see coming out from London Conspiracy, that's when Paradigm will decide where do we want this Isis at. Likely, in that case, to be a support here, I would imagine, then, for Paradigm.
And that's why you see the get banned out by London Conspiracy as well. This is another shot of Paradigm just to try and stop this safe comp. They're going for a standard safe comp, I expect, for the most part, especially with the roster changes here. And Geb taken off the table, definitely a hit to them, especially after drafting the Athena as well.
Geb is just the perfect counter to Athena. Ares going to be locked in. That's going to be going over to DaZer.
Surprised by that pickup.
Yeah, I mean, Europe are very good with Ares.
We are good with Ares for the most part. We play it a lot. We like the aggression out of him. I'm surprised, though, when you're using a substitute, DaZer's coming in here, stepping to main roster to pick up something as aggressive as Ares. If he gets behind, it's not going to work out well.
I'm assuming this is just a god he's very comfortable with, as Hercules going to be going to Zashu in the solo lane, which means that we will have Xaliea, the option for the counter pick, or he could take Isis and they'll be drafting another mage for the mid, or an Uller, because I mean, Lawbster will spice it up sometimes with picks like Uller.
And a good front line for London Conspiracy there. Now they've got the Hercules and Athena, as well as Fenrir, who can dip in and out of those engagements too. But it's going to be down to this last pick now for Paradigm. Where's this going to go? That Neith could be run mid lane as well for Lawbster, however, because he's run that once or twice. Isis could be in the solo still, and we could be waiting on a Hunter again. I mean, we have seen them try the Guan Yu strategy when Funballer and Trixtank ran some Wukong Guan together. It didn't work out well for them that game, though.
Numerous options. Last pick going to be coming through, and it's actually going to be Mercury. Okay.
That's Xaliea Mercury, I feel.
This could be going to the solo lane.
Yeah, I feel
it could be played in the mid as well, and this is actually a god that has some solo lane potential. It's not something we haven't seen Mercury in a while. I mean, even back in the summer and the spring, it was played very rarely, if at all.
Is this because of Bluestone, do you think?
I don't know. I feel like he's not going to
Mercury
be going
for
Bluestone.
major wave
I think if it's a laning Mercury, he's definitely going to need the Golden Bow. He's going to need that AoE clear to help him out. And it is going to be Mercury solo. Yeah, and he's going to be going Throwing Dagger into Golden Bow. It's going to help his clear. However, Bluestone is such an efficient item, we could see it picked up here after the Golden Bow finishes.
Extra wave clear as well, and obviously it will give him some extra mana, which isn't a bad thing either to really help him out on that side. So let's find out exactly how this game's going to go, because with Lawbster in the mid lane, he's gone power pot on the Isis as well there at the start of this game alongside the Vampiric Shroud. So plenty of damage early on, fast wave clear, and then with Funballer in the jungle, he's also gone with that power pot start as well here, Dennis. I expect to see a lot of pressure very, very early on, and then try and get these mid hoppies very quick.
I think so too, and for me, it's going to be really about this solo lane matchup and how Xaliea is going to get through the laning phase, because he probably doesn't have the best matchup against this Hercules. The risky thing about running assassins or mages in the solo lane against gods like Hercules and Fenrir is that there's very high kill potential on these gods. If they get out of position once, they can get plucked either into the opponent's tower or just out of position, taking lots of minion damage, taking lots of damage from the Hercules. We actually saw it, Cyclone Spin even. He played Odin against Omega. I mean, he just jumped and it was a bad time to jump, got plucked into the tower and gave up first blood at level 2.
But I mean, if he can stay away from Hercules when he's trying to wave clear, make sure he doesn't get hit by the Earthbreaker, he should be fine for just using major looks all the time. And if he does get hit by the odd Earthbreaker there once or twice, what he can look to do is to try and use the special delivery, just to get himself out of danger, basically, away from the Herc.
Yeah, I mean, that move is exclusively going to be used for escape for now. It's just going to be about him getting through the laning phase and making an impact on the team fights in the mid game. I don't know how early he's going to rotate. I don't know what Paradigm strategy is, but they do have a lot of globals. They have the Neith, they have the Thor, and they're going to be able to keep Mercury safe and also keep pace with London Conspiracy, who have also drafted a very similar global composition. There's a lot of picks that could happen on both these in both these team compositions, because even Mercury, he could actually just go to dual lane. He doesn't have to go to his tower, sneak up behind, and actually use his ultimate from the tier 2 and just surprise dual lane, and they may not even be able to respond.
Well, talking about sneaking up as well, though, what you can actually see is the potential of a solo laner, for the most part, turns up to the Gold Fury fights or those mid-harpy contests that we see sometimes now and again. He could turn up very, very late between those two, and when he does, he can use the Sonic Boom to come all the way in, force a big difference in the team fight when he gets a big CC off if he can hit multiple targets, as well as deal some decent damage.
We're in a game, though. Like you said, the purple pot clear, which is going to give Lawbster a very dominant early laning phase, and likely to see them pushed up. I mean, it's Thor Isis. They're very strong, especially against this Janus Fenrir. While Fenrir can hit Brutalize, there's a lot that Lawbster and Funballer have in their kits to cancel that damage out.
The key there really is the Janus. He's not got the most damage at the early levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. He's got a little bit of poke, but it's A, it's hard to confirm early on. B, it's not as much as you'll see in a late game Janus, whereas Isis across the way, one Spirit Ball, Wing Gust with a power pot, you could just end someone straight out.
Especially with a Thor as well, Berserker's Barrage, and just Thor's passive adding 15 damage per player around him, up to 3 stacks. I mean, you can have 45 power early on with no items. It's actually absurd.
Well, nothing too crazy in terms of start. Everybody gone for the usual start that we saw back in Season 2 once again, with red buff being begun at the start of the game. And already Lawbster going to put the pressure on the mid lane here with that power pot. Hit level 2 very quickly, clear the wave out, and aero going to play it very safe. It looks like we're going to see Lawbster rotate for those right harpies, and already Funballer on the way.
Yeah, I expect this this mid and jungle combination to continue putting on the pressure for now. They're going to control the pace of the early game. You can actually see already Aero recognizing that he cannot contest those right harpies, going to be grabbing the left one as Cherryo rotates over and helps secure him. But over the wall, Spirit Ball just going to miss just off the mark.
I like what Aero chose to do there, though. He started that camp early, waited, and Fenrir could turn up a little bit later and still get the experience from it. So he allowed to make sure he could secure him a little bit quicker and make sure he didn't miss too much of the push in mid lane, even though they've got great push power there.
Dash in by EmilZy. Taunt available, and actually Shaggyshenk going to be putting a lot of damage onto ImDazer. This is the lane you have to worry about if you're Paradigm, because not only is Trix not playing support, but you're also bringing in your sub and coach to that support role. It's two players who are not comfortable, I'd say, at an SPL level playing this. And
you're playing against EmilZy and Shaggyshenk, one of the dual laners that goes back to the days of old that did very, very well for themselves. You saw in what happened in that little engagement, that Trixtank was the basically support there protecting Dazer, but Dazer's caught again in the taunt. Takes some more damage again from Shaggyshenk and EmilZy, but he's okay for now. He should sustain pretty well, but he is out of health potions right now.
I'm a big fan of what London Conspiracy's dual lane does in general. We actually saw them face against Myrmidons last time they played, and they played a very passive game against the Bruise Brothers, against Darzer and Jermaine, because they recognized the kill potential those players had. They gave them a lot of respect. Now, they recognize that these are two players that probably aren't comfortable playing these roles at this level, and they're abusing it. They're being very aggressive and putting the pressure onto Darzer.
Well, here's the key as well, though, is Ares is generally an aggressive god. If he gets aggressed on, it's difficult for him to deal with a situation when he's not the aggressor. In a bit of trouble there. Mid lane, though, Funballer and Isis pushed up very far under the tower, trying to continue to poke Aero underneath you, because he's at half HP right now with no health potions remaining.
Funballer just hitting level 5. Lawbster already there. Global's online for Thor. For now, I think he's just going to be farming up. You take a look, his dual lane very pushed up to their tower, and recognizing that Funballer has hit that level 5, I think we're going to see a little bit less pressure coming up from the dual lane for now. Although they both do have their own globals, including the Janus.
Well, now that's available, they could look for a big rotation if somebody does overextend, but I don't expect to see Paradigm overextend in any of these lanes. Ares, Neith, they're going to play pretty safe now. You can see the aggression that Conspiracy put on there. And obviously Hercules here up against Mercury. We can see the gold differential between the two already at the start. A little bit of a lead for Zashu, as expected, and a gank coming for Xaliea already.
Just going to dash right out of there, and Cherryo going to ult into the sky.
Meanwhile, Thor, though, on the other side, Funballer looking for a dunk down, going to find it onto Shaggy. Great top from EmilZy. He's going to save Shaggy's life, who's going to take to the sky to get out, but EmilZy might be in trouble. No, he will not. Defensive ult used as well by Aero.
That was just there, just in case EmilZy wouldn't be able to make it to his Tower of a Paradigm. They backed off there. After Shaggy got out, they invested a lot into him, but like you said, it was really that clutch taunt coming out from EmilZy that kept him alive.
Blink is available for ImDazer here as well, and he does have ultimate, so the potential to try and pick EmilZy there is available, but his ultimate is up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to make him CC immune. He's going to be able to teleport across the map. Invade coming out onto Xalea's blue buff already, and no one in position from Paradigm to contest that. You can actually see Funballer and Lawbster in the mid lane. They're just going to be focusing on grabbing these mid harpies, recognizing that that's a fight they just don't want to take.
Well, both junglers did make the gank about the same sort of time on different sides of the map, and honestly, it's London Conspiracy that came out on top just because they got the blue buff out of it more than anything else.
The attack speed buff was up on that dual lane side, but they didn't want to risk doing it, especially with Aero ulting over. He would have been there, and it would have been probably a numbers advantage that they didn't want to take.
Well, Paradigm do get both sets of mid harpies here. You can see that ImDazer's over there with Lawbster clearing the left ones after the right ones were already done, and Funballer, well, he's going to find out the blue buff is gone and going to have to clear out the minions. How rude of Conspiracy just to leave those camps, so he slows the reset time.
They could have just left one. They could have just left one.
They could have, but then you might have.
It would have been risky.
A little bit
they didn't have any vision on Lawbster in the mid lane. He was doing the mid harpies, but yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that when you leave one of the camps up, it doesn't fully respawn until the whole camp dies. It doesn't start the reset of that. So denying Mercury the blue buff for as long as possible, it looks like they were trying to do that. It's just like deny it as much.
And not having that blue buff is going to hurt Mercury for now. His wave clear is fine, but Made You Look actually expends a lot of mana, and especially when he's being pushed under tower already, Xaliea is likely to get a little bit behind here, and this is an advantage that I really think London Conspiracy wants to try and keep abusing.
Well, for 5 minutes in, still no first blood on the table. Aggression from both sides so far. Lawbster in the mid lane with that power play. You can see his top of minion kills so far, and obviously as well, Trixtank doing a good job as Neith. It's not that difficult to really clear a wave as Neith, though.
No, and you can already see Trixtank, the build he's going for. It's Transcendence. He's going to be very passive in this lane. He's going to be looking for farm, and he's going to be looking for his team to get picks. We haven't really seen the Neith ult come out yet, and I'm actually surprised, but in the mid lane, Cherryo, Beads coming out from Funballer, and he's not going to be able to get that kill support in Funballer.
I think if he got hit by that unstable vortex, if he would have missed that, he would have continued the aggression onto Cherryo there. But it was a good Beads from him, and this is the defensiveness coming out from Paradigm here. 4 members with Beads already, just so Cherryo can't look for those Ragnaroks.
And I really like that. They're just playing the safe game for now. I do want to see Paradigm start to open up the map with Xaliea and with Funballer, but it's very hard because of the Janus ult. And this is the key to London Conspiracy and why they draft this a lot of times is it may not be the highest damage, although Aero, to be fair, actually Aero does a lot of damage with it, but it's because they can rotate to whatever fight they need at any time.
He's in a lot of trouble there. He's going to try and ult out because it's the only way he's going to get away, I think. Turns around to taunt, and he will fall down for first blood to Lawbster. The 3-man army of Paradigm did manage to bring him down as he was looking to just clear a ward.
And now Paradigm, it looks like they're going to take their advantage and start up Gold Fury. There's 4 members on here. Cherryo's rotated as well, and Aero has already expended his ult, but Paradigm not wanting to be that risky just yet. They're just going to go back to farming their lanes with Funballer waiting in the corner.
Yeah, they're really looking for Shaggyshenk here, trying to force something out. There's the beads. If Shaggy walks back here, Funballer is still in the area there of that Gold Fury. They're not going to go any more aggressive, but beads for the Ares ult. They won't be too upset about it because of how long the cooldown is.
Yeah, 3 minutes on those beads. They're going to be down for a significant amount of time, and you can actually see big rotations from Paradigm already, just trying to find picks. You can tell they want to do the Gold Fury, but London Conspiracy's positioning just a little bit too good for them. They can't find what they need.
Well, passive is London Conspiracy now. Right Harpies have spawned, and we may see a fight over these 3 men against 3. And it's Paradigm who are waiting around the corner for London Conspiracy to go aggressive. Cherry goes straight in here, picks up Funballer, knowing he's not got beads available. Great Spirit Ball onto Cherryo, though, as the Ragnarok ended. And he's the one in trouble. Funballer takes to the sky. He's looking for the dunk. Can he find Cherry?
He's actually already under half, but Xaliea charging that ult, actually going to interrupt Cherryo perfectly. Funballer getting aggressed onto EmilZy, but now EmilZy caught between 4 people. There's the Spirit Ball, locking him in place, and EmilZy's going to fall as well. Boulder over the wall. Zashu going to find Funballer and Aero. He's got to teleport out of there. 2 picks real quick for Paradigm.
Two quick picks for Paradigm, but at the same time, Zashu with that ping pong over the wall did manage to at least trade back onto Funballer. And honestly, that came down to Lawbster for me with that spirit ball that hit Cherryo just as Ragnarok Energy dropped Funballer out of his mouth, immediately got stunned, so they couldn't follow up any more damage.
Spear ball over the wall, and EmilZy actually charging ults. Aero going to try and go through. EmilZy going to get silenced out for now, dashes, but the rest of Blood of Conspiracy is actually backed out of this fight, and Aero just going to try and teleport EmilZy out of there.
That didn't work out too bad, though, for Conspiracy. It cost them 2 ultimates, but they get left Harpies, as well as they also got Lobster's beads then. EmilZy going aggressive there with that taunt. Lobster didn't know there was no extra follow-up other than EmilZy, so he burnt beads preemptively to avoid the taunt, and now that's a 3-minute cooldown.
It's really important because you talked about it earlier, right? All these beads are being picked up, but they're only beads won. The players, they just want to have it so they don't get picks. But once those are down, you can actually see London Conspiracy and Paradigm both, because both these teams are buying beads won early, are abusing the fact you took note of it, that Cherryo went right onto Funballer because he had expended beads earlier. They were able to find the pick a little bit later on and did lose 2 for it, but you can already see both these teams trying to abuse these beads timers.
With Cherryo as well, it looked really aggressive. I mean, he went into
the rest of the team is like
exactly. He went to 3 alone. He's like, "What are you doing, Cherryo?" Oh, he knew beads was down. He picked him up, brought him to the team. It was a good attempt for London Conspiracy.
Miscommunication by the team, clearly.
I don't know if it was miscommunication. It was just like Cherryo realized an opportunity, and the rest of the team noticed it too eventually. But Lawbster responded so very, very well.
Back to farming for both these teams for now. Gold Fury Vision is in favor of EmilZy for now, and he's just going to try and get this ward without dying to the Gold Fury.
Starting to see more cooldown boots come out on supports once again, away from the Talaria, which gives you that golden extra movement speed just lately. Cooldown, the order of the day, I guess especially with, an Ares and Athena right now, and beads so important for Ragnaroks and the no escapes, that having the extra cooldown gets them up a little bit more often, those abilities.
Red buff going to be cleared out. Blink 3 already online for EmilZy, and with the changes to Blink where rank 1 is worth 150 seconds, supports, they have to invest more, because if they expend their Blink early, that's 150 seconds. That's nearly 2 minutes or over 2 minutes that you can't be aggressive or you can't look to try and find picks.
Blink 3 is 70 seconds though, so he's a little bit, he's still very useful item, but
they have to, the point is that they have to invest 900 gold instead of 300 to find that very quick cooldown basically on the typical ultimate timer. So for now, EmilZy investing all that gold is going to delay his defenses, and if Paradigm take note of that, they could look to abuse him and lock him down early.
Well, for a 3-1 kill lead for Paradigm right now, the goal differential isn't that much. It's about 300 between these two teams, as once again Cherryo looking for something to make good top from EmilZy into an Unchained, and there's a big ultimate from Lawbster that's going to keep him alive, and now Trixtank is here.
Trixtank going to try and root someone out and just force them out. Funballer is actually taken to the sky. EmilZy going to be beadsing actually out the Neith ultimate, and Cherryo, nice ultimate from him, bringing Funballer into the tower, locking him in place.
Yeah, unfortunately for Funballer there, he couldn't get his ult down in time and quick enough. Zashu rotating over here as well. Going to get chained up by ImDazer for a second, and now with that ultimate coming in from EmilZy as well after a quick recall, it all comes to naught, and honestly, Conspiracy the ones that come out on top.
Blinking by ImDazer, though. Gonna chain 3. Bees are forced, and actually Xalia's rotated
combo
as well. EmilZy locked into place. He's actually gonna take a big crit and fall quickly. Zashu thrown back into the team, and that's gonna be 2 picks the way of Paradigm.
Great combo, and that was down to ImDazer and Mercury linking up. Xaliea coming across. He used the ult to try and keep them in place, pull them in, and allow Xaliea to get that big sonic boom, and now Gold Fury is a threat. No ultimate available for Aero now. EmilZy did just die and use ultimate to get back to lane, so I think Paradigm should get this Gold Fury for free.
London Conspiracy are clearly giving it up. You can actually see in the mid lane Cherryo just trying to get some farm, but they're going to get aggressed onto Funballer, and Aero with no mana quickly able to get out of that one.
So a small lead, you can see gold is just under 2,000 now in favor of Paradigm as they take these left-hand Harpies. That should give them the experience lead as well, away from Conspiracy. They held it for a little while there too. And now we go on with the game 5-2. And the boys of Paradigm, considering they've got a substitute and they've switched up their roster in terms of their positions, they're doing a good job so far.
They're doing a great job. Trixtank actually leading Shaggyshenk by 2 levels, although that did just get shortened to 1. But so far, Trix, I mean, he's just been sitting in his lane farming, doing exactly what he needs to. And we actually do see him rotate a significant amount of times, able to find a pick or one of the kills in the last couple engagements and just help his team. He's playing a very defensive support, not getting out of position and being useful when he needs to.
He's doing it right as well, because he realizes as Neith you can wave clear very, very quickly, and he should rotate early just in case Apollo does come across there across the skies. He needs to rotate quickly to be there in time.
Look at this Mercury in the soul lane. actually has gone, actually a Blinken on the left side. EmilZy trying to lock down Trix. Dazer's here as well, going to be chaining up, but I don't think too much aggression is going to be coming off of that one.
Yeah, didn't find the second chain. They could have kept looking for EmilZy to put more poke pressure on, but couldn't find it. But going back here at the moment over to Xaliea, you were just saying his build and his actives here, we can see that he's gone for the spear.
He's gone Achilles Spear, which is interesting. I mean, it's a ton of burst damage. He's also picked up Beads 3, but it's going to be, when he activates that, that's going to give him a lot of lifesteal, and he's going to need it here. 1 versus 2 under the tower. Cherryo once again expending his ultimate, but Xaliea just dashing away from it. I love what he did
there. Notice how he clapped his hands to charge his Sonic Boom. If he felt like he was about to get bit by Cherryo, he could have ulted, gives him an immunity for a second, which would let him dash away from that. It was a really good call.
For now, though, he's being pressured under the tower. Xalia's done a great job of farming so far, though. He's up about 200 gold, which is basically the Gold Fury, but to me, that looks like he stayed even in this lane against Zashu, who should have the advantage. You can even see he's gone Mystical Mail. It's very hard for Xaliea to fight into it. He's sitting under his tower.
He doesn't have to fight, really. He's just got to farm. That's what his job is, right? As an assassin who's in the solo lane, you're looking to farm and then influence the team fights.
Right-hand side, actually, Zashu getting ganked. Boulder not going to connect with Xaliea for the second time, and they're going to find that pick. There's the ultimates we were talking about. Aero's ult going to miss as well, trying to get through there and get his team rotated in, but London Conspiracy electing not to after Zashu fell.
Did like Dazer's position in there alongside Lawbster. They didn't come all the way over for that gank attempt, but they covered the option of Conspiracy trying to rotate with that through space and time, and it kind of dissuaded them from trying to go any deeper because Dazer was available with a no escape if required there.
London Conspiracy, they're starting to fall behind, and this is the pick composition. They both are running this very pick-oriented composition, but Paradigms is a little bit better, especially with the Neith ult, and we are seeing big rotations from Dazer as well, just to cover options. Funballer everywhere, and Xaliea as well. He's been rotating. It's a lot of movement coming from the Paradigm team, and they're doing it very well.
At the moment, Aero's not died so far this game, only been involved in 1 of the kills, though, not really managed to get anything going for himself. At the same time, Shaggyshenk at the moment, all he's done is farm. He's got the Soul Eater online now, and you can see the Trixtank across the way has transcended and looks like he's going Soul Eater too right now.
Like you said, all he's done is farm, but Trixtank has been doing a better job of it. He's more than the 300 from the Gold Fury up. He's actually 1,000 gold up.
That does help with the kill as well, I guess, but it's not that much from a kill nowadays that you're going to get 1,000 gold.
And that was also shared in a team fight. Blinking by Days are going to lock Aero in place. He's not going to be able to portal. He's crippled and actually hits all 3 chains, and this could be the end for Aero. He's trying to get out, forced to beads, and a lot of pressure coming up from Paradigm onto this middle lane. You can see the rotation coming from Zashu.
Dazer should fall down here. No escape's going to buy him a second with that circle protection, but the boulder denies it. Cherryo going to chase down Lawbster. Lawbster does manage to get away for the time being. Cherryo, though, did just use Unchained to dive in, so has to back away. And unfortunately, Dazer's the one that falls there. And I feel like if he would have gone fully aggressive there, Dazer, to begin with, that would have just been a free kill on Aero beforehand. But he was worried about a rotation.
And he was a little bit passive. It seemed like the team didn't necessarily want to follow up. You saw him just kind of sitting at the edge of that tower. Zashu continuing to be aggressive. Beads are down for Lawbster. Taunt's going to miss. That could have been the end of him. Funballer takes to the sky, but I don't know if he wants to land on this. He's going to try and hammer out, but it gets interrupted. Cherryo, he actually misses Brutalize. Aero here as well. Funballer is just being ignored, and big rotation from Xaliea.
Sonic Boom does find one onto Cherryo. Meanwhile, Zashu brings down Funballer for Xaliea. Chasing down onto Aero, though. Not going to go through the threshold because of the slow. Shaggyshenk is here now. Trixtank too. Doesn't manage to find the Spirit Arrow, and now the chase is still on. Tries to throw Shaggy back in, but the beads are good, and he gets out as well.
And you just saw London Conspiracy try to go on a Mercury there, and Xaliea just stood and fought them 1 versus 2, no problem. But I will say London Conspiracy does come out on top of that one, able to find Dazer at the beginning of the fight, and then Funballer and Lawbster as they chase them down.
But this tier 1 tower could be under a bit of pressure here. Dazer's here with Trixtank as well. A full minion wave coming. Mercury's hanging around as well, so this tower in the mid lane will fall down before anyone gets here. Through space and time fired. The teammates are arriving, but the tower still falls.
Aero doesn't look like London Conspiracy wants to be any more aggressive, but like you said, they're going to lose that one. Tier 1 on right also, it's only 1 hit. Xaliea just needs to walk in there and grab that whenever they want. Paradigm have really opened up the map and gave themselves a lot of presence across there. It's going to be hard for them.
Notice how Xalia's been very late to the fights against Zashu, but whenever Zashu's rotated, Xalia's punished him by putting pressure on the tower and then still turn up in the team fights and making an impact.
That's the power of Sonic Boom. He doesn't have to fully rotate it. If you actually take a look at the jungle routes, all he has to do is basically make it to Fire Giant, and then he can ult into that middle lane from there. He has the vision. He has the line of sight that he needs. Meanwhile, Zashu, he's got to walk the entire way, and like you said, it's just the pressure.
Just the pressure indeed, and you can see Gold Fury, you can see Cherryo hanging around there, trying to look for a potential pick of somebody coming to clear a ward. DaZer's around there. Zashu at the moment, he's going to put the pressure on this tier 1 tower, and it looks like Xalia's happy to give this one up here, and gone straight back to base and picked up a Deathbringer here.
Deathbringer, and this is one of the strengths of Mercury and why he can work so well when he gets an early lead. What you do is you build the golden bow, and the math is that Rage typically is the better item. However, it doesn't proc off the one, the Made You Look, which can actually apply on-hit effects. That's why you see the golden bow so well. It's a very long-ranged crit, basically.
Would you ever see a heavy hammer coming out from a Mercury at all, just because of the on-hit effects? Would that be useful?
It's possible, but I don't think we will. I think if Xaliea feels like he's getting pressured, he will, because it's more about the 400 health, and then the on-hit effect is
still going to
secondary.
slow as well, which could help him out with landing those autos and sticking to a target, which is an issue Mercury can have. And now you can see Paradigm grouping up once again for the Gold Fury, clearing out wards to begin with. London Conspiracy in decent positions to defend here. Don't forget they do have the through space and time available. Good ward clearance once again from Paradigm around this Gold Fury. Sorry, around the Gold Fury and the left Harpies.
You can actually see Xaliea permanently having his Sonic Boom charged up. He wants to be ready. That's one of the weaknesses about this move, is it takes a little bit of time. Aero, though, through space and time. Cherryo jumps in, and a good wall from Funballer are going to stop that aggression, and that's an important ult down. Big
win for Paradigm. I think they can realize they can go aggressive again now, knowing that's down. EmilZy not going to get hit by the chain by DaZer there. Luckily, DaZer didn't manage to land it, but they could still look for the Gold Fury here. I think they're worried about more people being around. So instead, they're just going to go back to farm, push out this left-hand lane a little bit. Zashu in the mid lane, putting pressure on there. So Lawbster and Funballer have to rotate in to defend that too.
I think with their typical roster, Paradigm would be being much more aggressive in this position, especially with Aero having his ultimate down, just trying to force anything. DaZer, though, a little bit caught out, going to get taunted from EmilZy, but the rest of the London Conspiracy doesn't seem like they want to fight.
Not the best ultimate from DaZer, and now he's going to get in a bit of trouble there, but a big Sonic Boom came through from Xaliea on the backside. Shaggyshenk did bring down DaZer, who was already weak. Cherryo used Ragnarok defensively to get away, but Xaliea still trying to punch down. Shaggyshenk finds one, looking for the second, will pick up the second kill as well onto Zashu, and now Paradigm should get a free Gold Fury from that.
Achilles Spear is so effective so far. I mean, you could see Mercury just able to stand 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, and just the extra lifesteal gives just enough. I mean, Xaliea, he backed there at virtually no life, probably had less than 50. Aero through space and time coming through. It's going to connect, but it doesn't seem like...
Did reset the Gold Fury for half a second. Cherryo is back. No ultimate available, though, remember. Big wall, big silence, big spirit ball onto Cherryo as well. Still looking for aggression onto Funballer, who has to dash away. EmilZy forces the reset on Trixtank from the Gold Fury. Cherryo, no HP at all. Uses Brutalize to escape for an extra second. Gold Fury started up again.
No ultimate available from Aero, but EmilZy trying to get there, doesn't matter. Paradigm, they reset the Gold Fury, but it only healed up a little bit, and that's one of the things is Gold Fury no longer full resets its health like it did back at the beginning of Season 2. We saw that reset come through, and it healed up slowly, but not enough, and Paradigm able to pick it up.
So what is it the Paradigm's doing that's beating London Conspiracy here right now? I mean, on paper, when you look at the matchup, I kind of want to side with the side of London Conspiracy in terms of picks, just because, you know, the Mercury, the DaZer...
I think a lot of it is actually coming from Mercury alone, because these fights are breaking out 4v4. Sometimes Zashu will be the early, and London Conspiracy are either winning them or the fight's very even. And then a Sonic Boom comes through, crushes through 2 or 3 people, and it really does seem like London Conspiracy get disoriented. I don't know how the calls break down, but it can be very frustrating when you don't even see the Mercury come in, and then you have 3 people spinning in a circle, and then all of Paradigm full commit after that. I think the disruption from Mercury right now is really the key to Paradigm winning these fights.
Well, let's see if Conspiracy can shut down Xalia's disruption with that Mercury. Meanwhile, though, May Live Renewal, the first one of the game, has been picked up by DaZer there on that Ares. Will give fantastic regeneration if he gets involved in the killer assist, and that's generally what DaZer does. But DaZer, talking about him now, he's not going to regen now. He's probably going to fall down before he can even get that ultimate off, and he will do. Through space and time onto Trixtank and backflipped early, and now he's in trouble as well.
Beads are used very early, and Cherryo just going to wait him out, and that's going to be the end. That's 2 quick kills.
Rotation
but the
from
rotation
Paradigm
coming through. Trix is going to be the first one to fall. Funballer falls on 5, but he's just trying to get out now. There's a big taunt at Funballer. 1 at a time. Paradigm walk in and die.
Yeah, mistakes were made by Paradigm there. 2 members got picked, and the rest tried to reinforce and turn it around, but too little, too late, and Funballer committed without his teammates being able to follow up any further. And so Conspiracy, well, they tie the kills up, and now they can put some pressure on this tier 1. Only Lawbster here. He's going to have to give this one up. He's not going to be able to defend it, because they will just all in him if he does try and stand.
2 seconds on DaZer, but his ult is already expended, and London Conspiracy know this. They're going to take advantage and grab this tier 2. Lawbster and Xaliea, they can't fight into this. Xaliea, the only thing he might do is dive aero and try and one-shot him. He does have that Deathbringer online. If he gets a lucky crit, he can basically kill aero in under 2 seconds.
Aero's looking for a position round the wall right there, but it's not going to be in that position. This is game 1 of a best of 2 as always. They've always played 2 games. This is the first one. You can see the Paradigm. Well, they had the lead. They've got the gold lead, but London Conspiracy, after that little engagement, there's signs of life for them.
Paradigm, though, I mean, they had so many roster swaps here, and these are just temporary as CuboFred dealing with school, trying to finish it up. He won't be here for the rest of this week. However, Trixtank has really filled into this Hunter role nicely. He's played a very safe god. He's actually out-rotated Shaggyshenk, who has a global ultimate. And DaZer, he's gotten picked a couple times, but made some pretty big plays, pretty big important plays, and baited a lot.
He's playing Ares, and generally you can get picked quite a bit as Ares. That's the issue with an Ares, is that if you get caught, there's not much you can do. You're normally an aggressive god. My thing is, I think Funballer is the one that's really struggled in the jungle for the most part here. He's got some assists on the board for himself, but died once or twice where he probably could have got away.
Xaliea, level 20 already, and he's been the key for Paradigm, I think, staying into this game. It's like I said, these late rotations where, you know, Zashu is forced to rotate over early. Xaliea can put some pressure on the tower, then he just has to walk in the jungle, get vision from the Fire Giant to the mid lane, and then rotate in with Sonic Booms. And we've seen huge Sonic Booms as well in the meantime.
I think the issue is now is that Xaliea didn't manage to take down that tier 1 tower. Zashu did get that one down. And with Zashu now having that tier 1 tower down, he's not got as much of an issue to rotate early and, you know, worry too much about it.
He's also got Teleport 3 as well, so he could sit in that lane, put pressure on tier 2. Xaliea will have to defend it, or someone will have to defend it. He can teleport into the left-hand side or the Gold Fury and force fights. We haven't seen London Conspiracy do that, but I do expect it to happen soon. As you can already see, Zashu putting the pressure on there, and all of Paradigm in the middle, and Xaliea, he's got to go to the right-hand side and respond.
Yeah, he will rotate. It looks like Lawbster's halfway on the way, as is DaZer too, just to see if he's going to rotate more. You saw the pings go down, and immediately, well, EmilZy was thinking about shedding the ultimate in case he was in danger, but he's not for the time being. Zashu pushes up wisely and moves back again.
You saw 4 members of Paradigm rotating over, making sure that Zashu wasn't going to be able to do anything too cheeky for now. Shaggyshenk, level 19, just trying to farm up.
Still a big gank pressure onto Zashu, though. There's 3 members over here, though.
This tower's one hit. I think they just want to grab it.
I mean, Gold Fury's still down for a little time. Put the pressure on the tower here. They will pick this one up. There's nothing on the other side that can happen. But 3 space and time comes out from Aero. They were looking for Funballer there.
They're actually able to snipe him out and get a good amount of damage off on him. But the team has to back off. And Paradigm, they got the tower they wanted.
Trix and Shaggyshenk. Shaggyshenk has pushed up to this tier 2 tower now. He is Apollo after all. Can start putting that global map pressure on. But Trix back to defend for the time being.
And this, in the 1v1s, is where Shaggyshenk is really going to be able to abuse Trix. Early on, with the rotations, Trix was superior, but Shaggyshenk is an experienced hunter who's played this role for, you know, a year and a half plus. When it comes to 1v1s, especially on Apollo, who has a steroid built in his kit, he has Mez, which gives him physical protections. It's going to be hard for Trixtank to box him out.
But he doesn't have to box. He's just going to clear the way for the most part, right?
But if Shaggyshenk is split pushing and forcing it, he will. Cherryo going to jump in, and beats forced by Lawbster, and then EmilZy going to be ulting on a Cherryo just to try and help him get out there.
So 2 ults for a Beads, actually. London Conspiracy did not really get as much as they wanted from that engagement. It was Beads 2, though, onto Lawbster. DaZer lands 1 chains, not the second one. Good wall from Funballer, and a big taunt onto Funballer. But meanwhile, on the backside, DaZer was holding out through space and time. Was big. Sonic Boom was even bigger, hitting 4. No escape. Pulls in 2. Aero in a bit of trouble there. Does get chained. Can't go for a portal right now. They're going to try and bring down Aero's. Cherryo did manage to beat down Xaliea on the backside.
That disruption coming out was huge. Zashu going to pluck DaZer back into the team fight, jump in place. But honestly, DaZer's too tanky, and he kind of baits his team right there. And now with the chains going, there's nowhere for Zashu to go. Paradigm pick up 2 more. That fight was 100% London Conspiracy until 2 things happened. First, Xaliea Sonic Booms through, disrupts the team. But not only that, Shaggyshenk and Zashu both jump off and leave Aero alone. Aero gets dove in the meantime while they're trying to deal with Xaliea, and then Paradigm just win the small picks. And then we see the pluck coming from Zashu trying to kill DaZer, but it's an Ares who's pretty tanky, and they invested way too much.
Pretty tanky. Now he's also got the Hot Wad Amulet finish as well. 6,000 gold lead now for Paradigm. 5,000 experience as well in their favor. They've taken control of the game again after the small misstep during that mid game that we saw where Paradigm Conspiracy put the pressure back onto them. But for me, after that Sonic Boom, what was key to that is DaZer's ultimate with the no escape, because the beads were immediately used by most of the teammates defensively, because like, oh god, they're going to all in us now. And then no escape hits, which pulled Aero in, which put Aero in a very, very tough spot.
And Aero's, it's going to be very important to keep him alive. He has a ton of damage. We can actually take a look at the damage charts here real quick. We're likely to see him sitting pretty up to actually only 9,000. It's Xaliea who's been putting the pressure onto the team. I mean, these Sonic Booms, while it doesn't do a ton of damage like a typical normal ultimate would, what it does is it puts damage onto multiple players and disrupts them.
At the same time, you can see 500 at max level.
Actually, that is kind of a lot.
Physical power.
I mean, you know, it's 800 plus 100 scaling on Hercules, so it's a little bit less.
Yeah, but I mean, the boulder's harder to hit than a Sonic Boom, I guess.
And it could double tap.
And it can add triple tap.
And triple tap.
If you're really looking at a triple, and we actually saw a double from Zashu earlier off the wall to pick up a kill for himself. Zashu so far this game, as we were checking with him, 3, 4, and 5. His build's pretty good. Been quite quiet, though, for the most part. He's only really found, like, scrap kills is what I want to call it so far this game.
He's just kind of been a body to disrupt Paradigm's front line, and he hasn't been peeling at all. He's just been looking for picks and rotating around the corner. Jump in by Cherryo, though, and actually quickly decides to disengage as the rest of Paradigm come around that corner. Probably heard the Sonic Boom ult being charged up from Xaliea as well. That tell is actually very loud. That's one of the things that pro players always stress is the importance of sound play, most notably with Blink, where if you're running, someone's behind you, and you hear the Blink sound, you either want to blink or jump away very quickly because they know you're engaging you. Sonic Boom is a very large clapping sound. You know when it's being charged up.
Sound, Loki is another example of someone you can hear him vanish, you can hear some of the noises from his abilities. Very important on sound with a lot of characters. Isis, for example, Spirit Ball, you can hear it casting before it detonates too, so you know it's on the way in. Make sure you don't sit there listening in to music too loud, otherwise you'll miss the opportunity.
For now, though, Shaggyshenk, everything's down on the map right now, and you can see a lot of Conspiracy taking a very aggressive stance in the game. Paradigm just trying to counter ward, and it's likely to be that Fire Giant. We're 30 minutes in. Most players are hitting level 20. Very few aren't outside of the supports and junglers for both teams. There's a lot of hyper carry potential on Xaliea, and if London Conspiracy really can't control him in these fights, he's just going to run through.
Just going to run through for the time being. At the moment, you can see in the mid lane, Fenrir just chilling out with Janus as well, Aero in tow. And back to the game we go. Cherryo going to return back to base here as well. And he's already finished off that Midgardian Mail. Midgardian Mail and now into a Weakening Curse.
The anti-healing is going to be important, especially for not only Xaliea, but also Isis. I mean,
Sonic Boom being charged again by Xaliea, heading over to the right-hand side at the time being. And now they're actually looking for the pick onto Zashu potentially here as well, as DaZer's got a chain onto him as well. Zashu actually getting the ultimate onto him from EmilZy as well. And now with Aero here through space and time already fired off, DaZer backing away, Sonic Boom still being charged by Xaliea, but they do get the ultimate out of Shaggyshenk as well.
That's 3 ultimates expended, and EmilZy's continuing to be aggressive, but Sonic Boom coming through, it actually gets blocked out by Funballer's Thor wall.
Oh gosh, the wall caused issues. Funballer in the sky. Meanwhile though, Zashu did go down to Xaliea after that. Shaggyshenk preemptively bees to try and get away. Aero took a lot of pressure there. Aegis by Funballer to bite second now. DaZer on the way round as well to support Funballer, who's got a good Berserker barrage onto Shaggyshenk and will find the kill. Double tap doesn't connect fully with Aero, but now on the backside there's one man standing there, and it was EmilZy, and he's going to fall down too.
It's just a couple of 4-on-1s. And we saw Xaliea actually, saw him trying to dive the back line, trying to get to Shaggyshenk and lock him down and in place, but it didn't even matter. The Thor wall came out, and then Paradigm just abused London Conspiracy one at a time. Each player was a little bit out of position. First it was Zashu, then it was EmilZy, and then finally, Shaggyshenk, and then finally EmilZy fell as well.
Well, Paradigm channeling the power of Baba Yetu right now, especially with their substitute. It's worked out well for them. I think Funballer will shout out and say, I planned to use the wall against Xaliea then to make sure we can pick up Zashu first of all, and then clean up the rest of the fight.
He's like, Xaliea, we want your damage for Zashu. You got to help us lock him down.
We need him here. No, you're not going that way.
Paradigm pressuring up this Phoenix, and there's really nothing London Conspiracy can do. Shaggyshenk and EmilZy still down, and we're likely to see Paradigm now go and clean out the map. There's speed buff about to spawn, attack speed on the left-hand side. There's a tier 2 and two towers on the left-hand side. They're going to have a lot of gold to spend and a lot of objectives to take without being too risky.
Yeah, can we check Golden Hand right now just to see if they're going to return back to base soon? I expect they will do with around 1,500
I love this
each.
from LC.
But it's a good call, yeah. Go straight for the Gold Fury while they expect the Paradigm boys to go back, which is what they're doing.
I mean, there's no reason not to for Paradigm, and a lot of Conspiracy, they have the Sentry Ward vision both at the mid-harpy spot and as well as the Gold Fury. They know, or they feel like it's very unlikely that Paradigm would have the vision. They full commit, grab this Gold Fury, and it's almost a 3,000 gold swing, right? Because not only are they getting 15,000, or excuse me, 1,500, but they also know that that would have been free for Paradigm if they didn't go right then and there.
Completely true, and now they've bought themselves a little bit more gold. Got to get a chance to clear out that jungle too. Red buff down, purple being dropped. Speed buff is up on the other side of the map there, so hopefully they go and drop that one down too before they have to start the defense against Paradigm, who have all swung around to this left-hand side. No surprise to try and pressure these two towers.
LC are going to give up both the Tier 1 and Tier 2, and the gold that Paradigm are getting from this is not going to be able to be spent, so they're not really expending their gold lead, or increasing it, I should say, until they actually elect to go back to base.
Like what Zashu's doing here for the time being, though, pushing out this right-hand side so that the Fire Minions are pushing in at the same time as Paradigm try their assault on this left-hand side. Sonic Boom, you can hear it being channeled once again by Xaliea. If he sees someone with an opportunity, he will definitely dive in here. He'll have the support of his teammates too.
Stun coming out, trying to connect onto Cherryo, and you can see Xaliea just sitting in the back, and London Conspiracy don't have vision from him when he's holding that far back, and you could see the defense from London Conspiracy a little bit too strong. Paradigm, they don't want to risk anything. They're going to take the free gold on the tower, and I don't really think they're going to pressure into these Phoenixes unless they're able to get some picks.
What do you do as London Conspiracy then? Do you engage or do you wait for Paradigm to engage?
You let Paradigm engage onto you because you have a fight that's not too far behind from Paradigm. They do have Fire Giant, but they're not tanky enough to just full dive, especially when they have a lot of squishy characters, right? They have Funballer, who is this Thor, who's really this hybrid. You can actually see he's gone into Height of the Urchin, but it's not fully stacked up. And then it's ImDazer, who, if he gets out of position, he could just die quickly.
Blink in, ImDazer's going to find the chain onto Cherryo in the jungle there. The chain is worn off, the beads are forced out as well as the Unchained. So beads are down for the next engagement now for Fenrir. No escape is still available for ImDazer too. That's a big key. He can pick up that dog.
Cherryo is going to need to get back to this fight as soon as he can. EmilZy going to get chained out, stuck in place, and for now, Paradigm, they're actually going to get aggressed on. Ice Assault popped very early as Xaliea to the backline gets mezzed out, and Xaliea, he's not able to find any of the targets he needs. Zashu is zoning out in the back, and Xaliea could fall here. Yeah, he went way deep, but the rest of Paradigm was getting zoned out perfectly by Zashu. In the meantime, EmilZy, he's traveling back in. Funballer trying to take this guy. He's tanky enough to live 4 now, lands back down on Cherryo, but once again, a great mess from Shaggy and Funballer and Paradigm. They're just trying to get out, but EmilZy's not going to let him.
Funballer's in trouble here. Aegis buys him a second, but the team will not be supporting him here. He's up to himself to get out of danger. Gets a good wall off too, but they're still chasing him down. Realizes he will fall down. They get the Phoenix there, but they did lose the fight overall, and LC still trying to make them pay for it.
ImDazer's going to fall here as well. He's slowed. He's going to be taunted by EmilZy and Shaggyshenk, and the rest of them are going to clean this up. This is also putting them at awkward timers. Trixtank is actually rotated in as well, trying to save him, and yeah, Trixtank and Lawbster, they're going to have to back off of this one, but that fight
end here, do you expect?
They cannot end. I mean, there's still 3 Phoenixes, 3 Tier 2 towers up. They're not going to end, but they are going to be able to get a lot of pressure on the map, and that was a good fight from LC.
Like what Cherryo did there, he stayed back to defend. The right-hand Phoenix is going to respawn soon, so not a bad defense from LC. This game is not over just yet, as long as Cherryo doesn't let that Phoenix fall, which he didn't, which is very important. One more Fire Minion wave is there. I believe it's going to be 2, actually. Yes. The second wave will be coming down
Zashu,
as well.
What are you doing? Zashu's super greedy, trying to get that speed buff, but going to get chased off. Thankfully, he didn't get picked there. Fire Giant going to be spawning in about 10 seconds, and London Conspiracy, they're going to have to start putting some pressure across the map. You can already see Shaggyshenk pushing up that Fire Minion wave on the left-hand side, and in the meantime, they're going to finish off the last Fire Wave Minion on the right-hand side, but Paradigm, they were able to get 2 Phoenixes, and you could see the pressure that puts on LC. Even though they were able to win that fight and really start to close the gap on the gold lead that Paradigm has, it's going to be hard for them to fight this Fire Giant.
Well, I mean, they do have the ability with Aero on this Janus, as well as EmilZy to get in there, and Apollo too, to add to that one, to get in there and try and contest this Fire Giant, potentially even steal it away. Could buy them a little bit of time, but the left-hand side is very important. This is why Aero's all the way over here. He's the one with that global presence. I mean, Apollo could do it too.
I'd rather see Shaggy on this than Aero.
But I mean, with Shaggy's build right now, do you really want him away? He's got crit online. 2 shots, he could potentially want 2 shots.
Aero as well, though, does a significant amount of damage. You could already see he's got Rod finished. Both of these, Aero and Shaggy, are the carries. They're going to have to be in this fight. They're going to have some big ultimates if they want to win.
They did force them away, and there's a big ultimate from ImDazer as well. That no escape is huge. Gonna pull 2 members in. ImDazer's in a lot of pressure though, surrounded. He will fall down. Funballer's in the sky though. Cherryo's Ragnarok has been used defensively here to get away. And now the taunt from EmilZy is good, looking for the pressure once again onto Trixtank, who's not too panicked just yet.
I like EmilZy here. He's really holding his taunt. He doesn't want to use it on Trix. He wants to keep it. He wants to save it for Aero to keep Aero alive. Aero, he's going to actually pour it in and could be in a little bit of trouble. Xaliea through the wall. Big crits coming out. Xaliea picks up a quick double, and Zashu now in a bad spot.
Could even find a triple here as well. Going to throw him into the wall. The beat down with the crits are connected as well. Major Luck lands. The portal is there. He does manage to get through it in time. Great work from Aero. But now it looks like Paradigm can look for the Fire Giant once again.
Shaggy has ult. Shaggy has ult. He can come back into this one as well. Zashu a little bit low, Aero a little bit low, and they're going to be forced to back. Trixtank is pretty... It'd be risky. He could do it, though, if he really wants to. And yeah, Shaggy's going to take to the sky.
Too late, though. The Fire Giant already down. Are they going to still look to fight this one? Shaggy slowly coming in. Zashu took a lot of poke there. Been zoned off again. Driving strike away to the mid lane. Shaggyshenk hovering in the air, looking to try and support his teammate, but already Zashu falls down, and now Aero in tow as well as Funballer takes up. Shaggy could be in trouble as well.
If they find him, this could be game. I mean, Shaggyshenk is going to take a double tap to the face. Quickly, Maz and try and stand and fight. But all this is doing is allowing the rest of Paradigm to get closer to him, and you could already see Xaliea. He's going to catch him in place. All 5 members of London Conspiracy down. Fire Minions pouring into the Titan, and that's going to be game 1.
Paradigm pull out the Mercury, and Mercury makes an impact in this game, using a substitute and switching their roles based off that one. Has worked out well for Paradigm so far. Conspiracy using Cherryo didn't find that win.
Yeah, that was a very nice showing from Paradigm, considering that, I mean, it's one thing when you have a member replaced or a member subbing in, but when you have a member subbing in and then 2 other players switching roles, it's very hard. But Xaliea coming up big in that game, really helping Paradigm lock down that win.
But it's a Mercury. Everyone says Mercury is very, very weak right now. We don't see him very much because he has a lot of issues in the jungle, can be countered quite easily. Ever since we took some hits to him because he was picked all the time, we've not seen him. Why is he back?
Because it's really the way that Xaliea is using him as a secondary initiate, like you would typically see a Thor. A lot of times you'll see compositions where a Geb will blink in, Cataclysm, force a lot of beads, force a lot of defensive actives, and then a Thor comes crashing down. It's the same thing with Xaliea, and it works if he has an open path, and you saw him multiple times hit 2, 3, even 4 members in team fights.
Well, let's go right back to the beginning of that game and have a look at the first blood in this game and see where it all began this time round between these 2 teams.
And this was a good start. I believe it was, yeah, it was this quick pick onto EmilZy here and just a perfect wall from Funballer early on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, it was just EmilZy going to ward. The 3 boys were together and just in a great opportunity just to find that pick immediately. When you got wall, you got Isis, Spirit Ball, and immediately Trixtank was the key there for me. He used that World Weaver and knew, pick him. They knew they could pick up that kill.
And that's the comp they wanted, or at least that's the hunter that I think Paradigm wanted. They drafted it fairly early, and they just gave him this safe thing, like, you're going to farm, and you're going to send over your ult whenever we call for it, and you're going to be useful. And actually, a great job for Trix for really out-rotating Shaggyshenk in the early team fights.
Well, guess who the player of the game was? It was that Mercury. Xaliea did manage to pick that one up for himself with a great slash time of 7, 2, and 8 on a solo lane Mercury. And watch some of these sonic booms.
Wait, is this the one where he gets interrupted by the Thor wall?
Yes, it is.
I think this is
the best play in the world.
And then from here, though, you could really see Zashu diving way too deep, and we did see Zashu multiple times diving really deep into team fights there, getting picked, especially at the end when he needed to stay alive. But these disrupt plays were huge from Xaliea, and also perfectly timing and placing the ultimate as well. You can go too far sometimes.
Multiple sonic booms though, but it was most of the teams setting it up as well. But that was the nice one that I liked near the start of the game as well, that Mercury one, was when he covered the option of escape from the enemy and they continued to put the pressure on as well. It worked out very, very well.
Game 1, Paradigm, London Conspiracy, going to be looking to fight back into it. We're going to take a look, though, at the Alpha Draft top performers from Game 1, and no surprise, it's actually almost all of Paradigm. EmilZy able to sneak onto there, but Trixtank holding his own, sitting at number 1.
Yeah, number 1 in the AD carry role. Trix had a pretty good game for himself. I mean, we all spoke about Xaliea, but coming in as a sub, well, technically you're subbing into the Hunter role. 6, 1, and 12 he won that game.
Yeah, a ton of assists. I mean, there wasn't a huge number of kills in that game, but Trix was able to find himself a part of most, if not all of them, I believe.
It's funny though, right? Is that you replace your Hunter, you got a Hunter who's main roster who goes jungle, and your support goes Hunter. Why wouldn't you just leave your Hunter and put your support jungle?
Maybe Trix can't jungle.
Maybe you can't.